Welcome to Baby Steps, everyone. Becoming a better you. I've got with me my friend, my colleague, I don't know what you want to call it.
Friend, colleague, that's both of them, yeah.
My co-pilot here, my cohort in crime, Peggy Simpson. Peggy, how are you this beautiful, stormy Tuesday?
I'm terrific. Thank you for asking, and it's always a pleasure to be here with you, my wonderful friend and great presenter and teacher and trainer. And so yeah, I'm ready for today's session. I think hopefully our viewers are ready. We started the topic last time.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's. Like I said, I got a sneak peek at the slides. This is a topic that we could talk about for months on end, I do believe. Because it's probably the
right.
most pivotal part of the of your emotional intelligence. And yep. I took the test, like you said, and you know what? You and I are almost parallel, but
we did.
That's no surprise. No surprise.
Let me share my screen here.
Go for it.
And we'll get things rolling. All right. Can you see it okay?
Looks awesome.
Terrific. So yes, last time we started our journey through emotional intelligence, and we talked about what emotional intelligence is and the various aspects. And so today we're starting the journey with the very first one, which is self-awareness. And I agree, this is a topic we could talk about for a long time. But just as a reminder, self-awareness, the ability to know our own emotions, know our strengths, and know what drives us, right? As well as our impact and effect of our emotions on others. Mm-hmm. Huge, humongous topic. We're going to try to narrow it down into a few minutes, and we may eventually come back. We'll see as we go along the journey, but we're going to proceed through and try to talk about what is it, and some strategies for how to learn more about your own emotions. So your self-awareness is how you view yourself, right? You look in a mirror, and what is the reflection that you see back? Who do you, when you're at work, right? Your posture at work, how do you view yourself, and how do others view yourself? And your level of self-awareness really relates to your ability to accurately perceive your own emotions when you're in the moment, right? It's one thing to sit back and say, well, you know, I'm really an emotional person. I cry a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, that might be a statement you can make, and it might be true about yourself, but do you know what triggers you to get those tears? And we're going to step a little bit into next week's topics, but today we want to find out, what are your emotions? Are you in touch with them? Are you honestly in touch with them? And next time we're going to talk about how to manage them. Yeah. Because it's kind of a lot to talk about in a 20-minute segment to talk about both subjects. You need an understanding of really what makes you tick with your emotions, right? We've talked about a lot of different things through our different sessions, but our emotions are often something that we ignore or we don't think about. We don't think about as driving our success. We don't think about as driving our happiness, but in fact, they play a critical role. So if you're talking to people, or I know you, well, before I go there, do you have any comments on this? Just self-awareness.
Yeah, for me, one of the things to keep in mind is that the way you see others is a reflection of the way you see yourself. And, I in my book, and I did this a lot with the talks I give, talk a lot about labeling in how you label people. And if you're a person that labels other people, and we're seeing a lot of that in society here in this country right now, then that's also applying a label to yourself. So your emotional intelligence may not be as great as you really think it is. For example, if you see someone wearing a hijab or a yarmulke, or if you see a man that's pretty flamboyant, or a couple of women that are pretty rough together, you might immediately have a thought about, oh, there goes a dyke, there goes somebody that's gay, there goes someone that's a Muslim, let's stay away from them, whatever. You don't know that person. But what you just said to yourself is you don't really know yourself, because you're putting a judgment on someone else. And that judgment on someone else is actually a reflection or a barrier to the judgment you put on yourself. You're not really opening yourself up as much as you thought you are.
Let's keep that thought in mind. That's a good thought. Yeah. Let's keep that thought in mind and talk about a couple of other scenarios. Okay. When you talk about how you see others is how you see yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you're observing people, how do you know that you're around someone who has good self-awareness? Mm-hmm. These are just some examples, certainly not an exhaustive list, but they generally stay calm. Yeah. Even if they're frustrated, you might be able to tell they're frustrated, and nobody's perfect, right? But generally they stay calm, they stay more objective, and they talk through their emotions. They may express their emotion verbally. They may say, this makes me really frustrated. This causes me a lot of concern. I'm fearful. They may verbalize. They typically don't look for quick wins. They're not lottery players. They're not people looking for that lottery win, a quick win. They're focused on longer term. They definitely generally have integrity. Their word is something you can count on, and they display. They're upfront with conversation. They don't generally play mind games where they'll tell you one thing, but their intent is really something entirely different. Mm-hmm. And they're methodical at making change. Mm-hmm. Basically, they assess the situation first and then figure out the right steps to take. Mm-hmm. And they don't usually stay too long complaining about the problem. They generally look for the solution. Mm-hmm. Right? Those are just some examples. Other examples that you might want to add before I go to what?
Yeah. I'm thinking about, as you were going through this list here, a person that's a mentor to both you and me, he talks about when he's speaking with someone, he tries to reflect them in his conversation. Meaning, if they're pretty soft-spoken, he's going to be soft-spoken in his conversation. If they speak rapidly, he may speak more rapidly. If they speak slower, he's going to slow it down. So he's very much aware of how that person is and tries to model that to them so that they become more comfortable with him.
Yeah, I think so. From a self-awareness for him, mm-hmm. from a self-awareness perspective, right? He recognizes that he talks really fast, and he recognizes that, but I'm not sure from his emotions, I'm not sure where that connection is. Maybe you can help me get.
The way I interpret it is his self-awareness is he knows he needs to be aware of the other person as well. And he needs to model what they do in the way he presents himself. So it's not just an awareness about him and what he does, but rather he looks at the particular moment right there in time and says, this is the best way for me to be me. So he's aware that he needs to be, take his word versatile, but he needs to be more open to being receptive to the best way to communicate with that person. That's his self-awareness.
Okay. 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 I can take that.
Right.
Let's talk about people that are not as self-aware. Again, focusing on their self-awareness of their emotions, right? They are often take their emotions out on others. So their emotional outburst is much more frequent. I've been around people where, you talk about them at a drop of a hat. They can change their emotion. They can go from hot to cold. They take their emotions out on others. So if they're frustrated about something, then everybody around them is frustrated, right? Or they take their anger out. And it may not even be anger, but it sounds like anger when they take it out on other people. They often talk over you. So they're not really engaged. They're just so excited and so in themselves that they're talking over the room or over the other individual. And they, again, because they are making emotional, quick decisions, they often, I'm going to use an expression, they go all the way to the end of the road, right? Before they even know which way the road's going. I've used that expression with somebody who's close to me, and because they often do, their mind just goes immediately to some conclusion based upon their emotions and their assumptions without even necessarily thinking about other ways to get to that same destination. They just race down the road. Any thoughts there? Have you been around people like this?
Right. Absolutely been around people like that frequently. When I look at this list, I mean, the two that came to mind quickest are people that I want to categorize as people you have to walk on eggshells around. That's one. That you never know what the temperature is going to be, and they have no internal thermostat. It just is what it is. The other one is the person that's just a brick wall. You probably will get more reception from a brick wall than you will from talking to them. And for some people, and this goes strictly to self-awareness and their emotions there, for some people, they have absolutely no clue they come across that way.
That's true.
I mean, I think of people that I've worked with or known in the past that I go in and I talk to them, and I had to learn that just because they had no expression on their face and they had a deadpan face doesn't mean they weren't absorbing what I was saying. That was just them, and they weren't aware that they were sending off those type of vibes and body language.
Yep. And that's true. They often don't realize it.
Right.
Yeah. Or they may internalize it, and they may feel that people don't like them, right? Because they have no idea the ripple impact that their emotional status has on the people around them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the flip side is there's people that are so closed off that they appear to be happy and jovial all the time, and everything's always up and grand and beautiful and happy, and they're really a miserable sight inside, and they're not enough self-aware to realize that they would just be a little bit more vulnerable. They may have even more respect coming toward them.
Yeah, I find that to be true. And I think that's where, verbalizing what emotion you're going through. Right. I know I myself have been in meetings where you've probably heard me where, I got a little passionate about the topic, and I might have to come back later and apologize. Right. Or I might even say it in the moment. I might say, look, I realize I can hear myself, and I can feel my emotion, and I can feel it, my energies, and I have to stop myself and take a break. And I might say, sorry, I guess you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this, but let me try to, sit tight for a minute and be a little bit more logical or something. But The ability to verbalize your emotions is, I think, really important to give you that balance, because
Right.
nobody should be being balanced with your emotions. Being aware of your emotions doesn't mean, like you said, that you're always happy and everything is always wonderful,
Mhm.
regardless. You
Right.
don't have to do that.
Hmm.
In fact, people are going to appreciate, as you said, that you're more real, right? You're more genuine.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't mean that you have to put the weight
Hmm.
of everything onto
Right.
somebody else.
Yeah.
There's a balance.
We've been in meetings, and I want to give a shout out to Tanisha and Yvette and Cynthia and Michael for all joining us today so far. But we've all been in meetings or on Zooms or just in conversation. Maybe you're gonna meet someone for coffee, and you had some things you want to talk about, and they come on and they say, you know what, I know we were gonna do this today, but I just need to get this off my chest. I just need to say this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that's been burdensome, and I think a great example of that is just what we've been through as a society, and only with the COVID, but also with the unrest in communities, and just starting to have authentic dialogues
Mm-hmm.
about how we treat each other. In fact, I mentioned to you this morning that I met a wonderful lady online, and we had this great conversation. And one of the things that we talked about was that maybe what's going on is the way of Mother Nature or the universe or God or whatever power be that you believe in said, time out, enough. You got to quit doing this to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and cause something to happen to make us gasp and take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is a universe self-awareness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it can't keep going.
Right. For sure. For sure it is. So how do you
Ah,
find self-awareness? And you do it through self-reflection. But I got to tell you, I listened to a TED talk, right? And this woman was presenting research that she had done around self-awareness,
mhm,
and indicated that through their studies, they found that people who were introspective and trying to understand themselves, if they focused on the what caused their emotion, they became more self-aware.
right.
Don't focus on the why.
Mhm,
If you continually try to ask yourself why, you turn into a victim mode and you stay down in the hole. It seems, it doesn't seem intuitive at first, but
right.
then I began to think about it, right? And I began to think about, okay, and I've remembered conversations I've had with, I'll mention again, my kids, right?
Mhm,
And they would say, oh, I got so mad.
mhm,
What? And I would ask them, what made you mad? Because you have the choice to react. So
right.
what triggered you to be mad about it?
Mhm,
Because I wanted them to think in their head so that the next time
mhm,
they could manage that emotion, right, to their best interest and the best interest of people around them. So it got me thinking about that, and I could see absolutely why that research played out that way, of
mhm.
looking for what causes you your emotion in a particular situation rather than why.
Mhm.
Any thoughts?
I love this. In fact, and I'm not going to give away the thunder here, but in several slides, you've got a photo of something to me that is just sums this up. And it's the way that you see who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that who you really are, yes, it is the person you are today, but it's the person you see yourself becoming. And that person has got to always be there, one step further, one step into it. And you're right, the what is the key to it. The why, your why is what drives you, but the why you did this creates that victim mentality.
Yeah. Yep. Because you just continue, because sometimes you don't know why, but if you think about the what, you'll
Exactly.
know it was something someone said. It was something you assumed. It was something that, happened to you, somebody else's decision. So some strategies to help you tune in to your own emotions. First of all, foremost, there is no good, there's no bad, right? Your feelings are not good or bad. They're real. They're your feelings. We're not suggesting that you don't have feelings. We're suggesting that there are better ways or worse ways to manage your emotions, right? And becoming self-aware of what your emotions are and learning how to manage them, which we're going to talk about next time, will help you in your life overall. Keep a journal, right? Everything in life, really. I can't even count how many times I may have said, to, again, my kids or to anybody that was asking for some advice or talking about a problem. And I say, write it down, right? Write the pros and cons. Keep a journal of your emotions, especially if you are just learning how to identify. Each day, take a review, or in the moment, just after it happens, write it down and say, man, such and such a time this happened, quick notes, and this is how I felt. And then maybe you don't have time right then, but then think to yourself, come back and look at it and say, what caused me to think that way?
Right.
Journaling always helps, regardless of what it is.
Right.
We're especially emotional oftentimes when we're stressed, right? So get to know yourself in stressful moments. Understand, how do you manage stressful moments? And what are the triggers that cause your emotions to begin to take over? And I think I said this earlier in one of the examples. You need to try, if you're in tune with your emotions, you will feel them. You'll recognize that you're talking louder and you're talking faster and you're really excited and you're in motion and your hands are moving. When you are aware of your emotions, you'll catch yourself doing those things.
Right.
Feel them physically. If you're angry about something, listen to your body. Listen to what happens inside you when you feel that anger. And it will help you learn how to diffuse it. Obviously, observe the ripple impact that you have on others around you. Again, not saying that you have to be happy every single day, but the flip side is also can't be true.
Right.
It's impossible for someone to be unhappy every single day. They're not truly unhappy, but they're stuck in an emotion, or they're not aware of the tone of their voice or what's going on. They may have a problem they're dealing with. They're not aware of how it's affecting everyone else. And I've had people, and I'm sure you've had people, and our viewers have had people where, you hear someone's name or you look at your phone, caller ID, and you say, oh man, you can just feel your body sink in the chair.
Right.
Say, oh man, do I really want to deal with that person right now? Because I know how this is going to go. You know what I mean? That's an emotional person that's not self-aware on the other end of that phone.
That's right.
When you recognize people like that, then recognize it's not them as an individual necessarily. It's the fact that they're not self-aware.
Right.
That may help you even learn how to communicate and deal with them more effectively. And as we've said already, accept the mood that you're in is temporary, right? And you're allowed to have moods. We all have them. We all have them. But how we react and how we manage them is the key. And ask other people. Ask other people how they would describe you, what they think your strengths are, right? Ask them, do they view you as an emotional person? Ask them for examples. If you can't think of them, ask them for examples. Your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I love the ripple effect. And that ripple effect is both internal and external, because it's what you feel. And you're right. There's a call that when, in fact, and I'll just confess this, I have my phone set to a specific ring for this person. And when that ring comes on, I bristle because I know it's going to be emotion.
I'm
Because
sorry. I don't mean to do that.
yeah, right. Because this person is so unaware that anything evolves and revolves in this world other than him. And I just bristle when it happens. But that is part of my own internal rippling that's taking place because I'm allowing that in. I'm allowing that emotion to come in. But the other thing, and I love this, talk about stress. Just always remember the word stressed. The word stressed is desserts spelled backwards. Stressed is dessert spelled backwards. And there is a reason, I mean, a scientific neurological reason why when you're stressed out, that quart of butter pecan ice cream, just to sit and eat it, can help you reflect and to change your entire mood. Yeah, you might gain 5 or 10 pounds in the process. That's okay. But there's something there, and that if you think about when you were kids, and I never raised kids, so correct me, but when I was a kid, when I got in trouble or something happened that I was stressed out about as a child, my mom would sit me down and tell me it's going to be okay and give me a glass of milk and some cookies or something. Because that was a distraction, but I was also nourishing my body in a different way. So and the feedback, you can't, I mean, just like you have accountability partners, you need to have a stress partner, someone that really can work with you on that. Absolutely.
Yep. So when you know yourself, you are empowered, right? Yes. During your session on the iPeg, we talked about empowerment, and we talked, and that's the whole reason that you do personal development, is to be more empowered, be more successful. So this is just, as we said before, the secret sauce here, that if you can master your emotions, your other skills will, you'll learn along. And here's your favorite one.
That's it.
So in this picture, obviously you can see that the cat looks in the mirror and the cat sees a lion. He doesn't see and actually it's a kitten in this example. And that's what I meant when you look in the mirror at yourself. If you are self-aware, you will see the type of individual that other people see, because you will have been able to reflect that, communicate that, behave in that way, represent yourself that way, carry yourself that way when you're around other people. Don't be like this cat looking at it today and seeing yourself. However, what Bart said is, you can look in the mirror and envision your future and see yourself growing to where you have the skills of a lion.
And let me add to that, there's another one that I love. And by the way, welcome to both Dan and Viola for joining us. Another one like this that I love, and you can go Google it, people, if you need to get a self-reflection image here, is the image of a very elderly lady sitting at at her, well, what's it called, where you sit and put on your
dressing
makeup?
Table.
There
dressing
you go.
table.
Yes, there you go. Sitting there looking in the mirror, and she sees herself as that beautiful young ballerina. That to me is another type of self-awareness. It's saying, I had this in me. It's still there. I gotta find it. Maybe she can't do the plies she once did, but that part of her that created that ballerina, that part of her still exists. And it's still inside of you. And maybe you got to dig real deep to find it. But that's a piece of self-awareness too.
Yep. But I like this picture too. I'm with you.
I love this picture. Yep.
So self-awareness, take some time, understand, think about what triggers you into different emotional states. And next time, we're going to talk about how to manage those emotions. We've mentioned a few things today, but we'll get into it a little deeper next time. Any closing comments or thoughts?
Great self-awareness. I have a t-shirt that I created that I wear when I do some of my training, and it just reads simply, when all else fails, just dance. Just do something. When all else fails, just dance. And we were on a training call this week, and you and I were, with Mr. Johnny Wimbrey, a well-known author and speaker. And he said, in every conversation, someone is playing the music and someone is dancing. Are you that person?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me spoke on really high volumes, because it said to me, when you're playing the music, that means you're orchestrating. And when you're dancing, that means you're reflecting and you're absorbing what's been orchestrated. Mm-hmm. So are you the person that is hearing what you're saying and responding? That's a really high level of self-awareness.
Yep, it is. True. Really great. Really great. So this has been great. We thank our viewers for watching today.
Yes. Awesome.
Can't wait till we take the next step here and talk about how to manage your emotions. And we'll continue these topics again on Thursday.
I cannot wait. This has been great. Peggy, you got some great stuff here. I can't wait till your book comes out and even get more of this inside of it. That's going to be amazing.
Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. I can't say exactly when that's going to happen yet, but it will happen.
It will happen. Absolutely. It's on its way. That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for me today. Everyone have a wonderful evening and a good day tomorrow, and we'll see you back here on Thursday, same time.
Looking forward to it. Bye for now.
Bye.